welcome to all of you from all of us. Our names are up there on the screens by our names, and most of you already know us, but if you don't, I'm Cantor Ida Ray Kahana, Senior Cantor. We've got in my boxes, we have Kim Schneiderman, our wonderful artist in residence here at Congregation Beth Israel, and we have Rabbi Rachel Joseph, and we have Cantor Raina Green. So we are blessed with all of them and with all of you. As you know, the Women's Seder is always something out of the ordinary and extraordinary. And I think given pandemic, then that makes it times 10. So we decided this year to really do things a little differently and to focus in on themes of around the 4 cups rather than try to do everything. So the Seder will not really be a Seder in the sense of the order won't be exactly the same. We are going to ask you at this point to gather whatever items you want. If you want to have some wine or juice around, if you'd like to have some water and a towel for washing your hands and a bowl, great. We also had asked people to bring some, if you didn't get a Seder box, find some paper and a pencil so we can use that later. And if you have either an object or a picture or something around that gives you the warm fuzzies and reminds you of other Seders, especially that features the matriarchs of your, either of your family or just other people that have been important to you, find all of that and bring that together so that we have that at the get-go. I do want to say for those who received this Seder, this wonderful Seder box, which was very fun. Also, for those of you that didn't get a Seder box, if you want some food, grab some food, so please have whatever you would like to eat as well. There is this horseradish vodka in the Seder box, and I just need to tell you that it's actually corn-based. So if you're strict about keeping your, I become Sephardic, but not everybody does. So just remember that you may want to save that for after Passover. I think I hit all the major, and if there are different times where we'll ask you to put things in the chat. So if you have any questions about anything, just go ahead and put them in the chat or comment. Tracy Alifans is moderating everything for us. Thank you, Tracy. So if you're having technology problems, you can reach out to her. But right now, we really want to just sit back, relax, enjoy each other's company for this next hour or so. And we're so grateful that you're with us. Tracy, you want to play the bruchot? Sorry, there we go.
תחת כנפי השכינה, ברוכות הבאות, תחת כנפי השכינה. May you be blessed beneath the wings of Shekhinah. Be blessed with love, be blessed with peace. May you be blessed beneath the wings of Shekhinah. Be blessed with love, be blessed with peace. ברוכות הבאות תחת כנפי השכינה, ברוכות הבאות תחת כנפי השכינה. May you be blessed beneath the wings of Shekhinah. Be blessed blessed with love, be blessed with peace. May you be blessed beneath the wings of Shekinah. Be blessed with love, be blessed with peace. Be blessed with love, be blessed with peace.
I love that blessing. It feels so good to be blessed to hear. I was talking to somebody earlier today about not hearing harmonies, not how long it's been since we've been able to sing together, and how powerful it is, even when the three of you are still on the screen, but that we're always singing individually. I'm singing at the top of my lungs at home. It's very funny. I'll let you in on a secret that frequently my family will come downstairs and say, "You're not unmuted, are you?" They think that I'm leading, but my voice is not good. And so they're very concerned for all of you listening that I'm actually singing. This happens and I'm like, don't worry, I'm just singing along. So that should also encourage all of you to continue to sing along at home. Your family will also worry, but that it is so. You too?
This is something I'm hoping carries over from our time on Zoom, is that everyone feels free when we're together to sing out from their hearts.
Sing out. But I was saying, even with the three of you on, it's so nice to hear singing together, and you sort of realize again what we've missed, and gives a little taste of hope of what's to come. So as Kendra Kahana was talking about, this Seder being a little bit different, but the whole idea of the Seder is telling the story and thinking about our journey, and really just watching. It's the first time I've seen that video. It really made me think about this year, where we've been from our time together, even at the Women's Seder last year, where I hope that we're headed next year. So part of telling our people story is our individual story. See, who knows? There could be a cat in your screen too. So it's telling our individual stories of where we are. And so that's how we really wanted to start this time together, is to have an opportunity to go into Seder tables, to go into breakout rooms, to be able to introduce yourself and share something that has really carried you through this year, whether, as we were saying, whether it is a picture or an object, something to share, to introduce yourself. And traditionally at the Seder, we introduce ourselves by saying our names, and we're the daughter of, and the daughter of, and all of that. And if you happen to have any pictures, I just got a picture. This is my mom and my sister and my amazing hair, and that my mom just gave me. I love this picture. My mom in that picture was younger than I am now, which also makes me, feel like that. But whatever, if you have anything that you want to share, but just to have a moment to connect what has given you strength in this year, who are you, to tell our story as a community. So Tracy's going to put us into little Seder tables.
Okay. I think we are back. I hope that you had a lovely time saying hello to people around you in your room, at your table, your breakout table. This is something new. And for our first cup of wine, we're going to give it a theme of de la carte. Oh, hello. Got to make sure we're all muted. Sorry, thanks everybody. So our first cup of wine, the theme that we're going to use, and go ahead and grab your cup of wine. I'm going to stay seated. I know it's traditional to stand, but heck, it's Passover. We're reclining. So the theme of this one is called Vilakachti. I will take you to be mine. It's God saying to us, I'm with you. And you don't have to feel alone. You don't have to feel unsupported. It's that constant loving sense that we have of this presence that is enveloping us, which I know we don't always feel, but sometimes we have to work really hard to create. It's also significant that at this time, it's during the counting of the Omer, we're in the first week, and that the Kabbalistic theme of this week of the Omer is all about chesed. It's all about loving kindness. So as we are lifting this first cup, let's focus in on the love that we feel for ourselves, which is often the hardest step to go to. And then after that, reach out just to the energy-wise to the people in your house, to the people that were in your little breakout room. Send them some love and kindness from your heart. And finally, try to just extend that sense of embrace to everyone that is on this screen right now. We've made it this far through the pandemic by being able to break the bonds of screens, by using the screens, by using the phones to keep fostering this tremendous sense of loving kindness in our community. It's for all of us. I know I can speak for everyone here. It's been an amazing revelation of how much we can do actually when we're in Mitzrayim and so limited. How much our people were able to do when they were so held up in bondage, how much they did even after they were let out, and they still, in a way, were in that narrow place, which is also where we are now. It takes a long time to get through Mitzrayim, to get through these narrow places, and we do it together. So we're going to say the blessing for the first cup of wine. I'm also going to add a motzi, out of order, we know, but it's the right order for us because I want to give everyone permission to nibble at your box if you have that, or whatever foods that you have around you. Okay, so here we are. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Te'avon. And Cantor Green will take it away.
Te'avon, bon appetit. And we're going to keep the blessings going because that's such a huge part of our Seders is marking the moment as sacred with blessings. And so we add in a Shehechianu. We usually save Shehechianu for only the first night Seder, but this is our first night Seder together. This beautiful long-standing tradition. Now I understand 6 years of Beth Israel Women's Seder, and my first Women's Seder with Beth Israel. Are anyone else? Raise your hand if this is your first. I'm looking through the gallery. Is this your first Women's Seder with Beth Israel?
Talia. I see Talia's hand.
Welcome. Welcome. So special.
You muted me? No.
It takes a long time to scroll through, but I could see. Welcome, everyone, whether this is your 6th or your first. Let's mark this moment as we say, blessed are you, God, creator of time and space. You have given us life. You have sustained us. You have helped us reach this moment together. As Cantor Kahana said, we could never be here if it wasn't for each other, helping each other make it to this moment. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu vekimanu ehigianu lazman hazeh. Let's sing it again. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu vekimanu ehigianu lazman hazeh. Amen. Next year, we'll all have our arms around each other as we sing Amen.
Amen. As we're thanking God for being together, and again, the idea that we are together, this is real, even if it's not physical, we feel it spiritually. So grateful to have this time. And as we go on this journey, as we're telling our story, we also have to make room for that journey. And we do that through ridding ourselves of what is holding us back. And I think this year has been a year of really crystallizing what those things are that we want to get rid of. What do we want to carry forward? And so we normally do this before Passover begins, where we get rid of the chametz in our house. And we do that physically, we do that in reality, and we go around and we get rid of all of our bread and our leavening. And if you're really machmir and you're sweeping up the crumbs and all of that, we also do that spiritually. And we also do that symbolically as an almost another opportunity for tashlich. We think about that around Rosh Hashanah. We were sort of joking about that. This is our Passover tashlich, and casting away and letting go. And so as we've done at every Women's Seder, we want to do this again, is have the opportunity to get rid of what is holding us back from going on this next stage of the journey. What is that chametz in ourself and in our life that we want to leave behind this Passover in this year? If you got a Seder box, there were some what we call magic paper in there. And this is a special dissolvable paper that we use later. You don't need that. You can also just use any kind of paper or anything. But we want to take a moment and write down, to actually go through that act of thinking for a moment about what is it? What is that chametz? What is that emotional chametz that you want to get rid of and get out of your life? And then to write it down. And then we're going to put it to the side for a moment. So everybody have something, a piece of paper.
If you had the box, it was under the macaroon, and it may have gotten jammed under there. So
the perfect place is to be under
it's
the
kind of like an
macaroon.
it's an Afikoman thing. Like, find the magic paper
under the macaroon. Okay, so hopefully everybody has their paper and they can do that as we're take a moment to write it down. And then when you're done, just put it to the side, put it out of the way for now.
The next part of our gathering involves hand washing, which of course has taken on a whole other significance for us in this past year. And just doing something with water is, I think, for us as women, significant because it connects us back to our foremother Miriam, for whom the legend goes, when we were wandering in the desert, it was Miriam who would know how to tell us where to stop. She didn't need that divining rod. Wherever she felt God's spirit was, and they would dig, there would be a well. And then when Miriam died, the wells dried up. So the significance of the washing of the hands for us of women takes on a whole other significance. And I'm inviting Kim here to share with us a little bit about this beautiful prayer, so that while we're washing our hands, we can meditate on that a little bit.
Ufrosalenu is a blessing that was written long ago by Rabbi Aryeh Hirschfeld of blessed memory, and something that I've grown up singing. So as we're washing our hands tonight, let's be reminded of Mayim Chayim, our living waters. And we're going to sing these words, Ufrosalenu, Sukkot Shalom, spread over us your shelter of peace. The word shalom comes from a root which means wholeness and completeness. So as we're washing our hands tonight, let's wash away what no longer serves us. Let's open our hands and open our hearts and embrace all that is possible before us. Shalom. Let's try together. Sukkot Shalom. Shalom. Mayim Chayim, waters of life. Shalom. Let's try that together. Mayim Chayim, waters of life. Shalom. Draw water in joy from the living well. Draw water in joy from the living well. Ufrosalenu, Sukkot Shalom. Shalom. Mayim Chayim, waters of life. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom.
So beautiful. Invite everyone to pick up your Kiddush cup as we prepare for the second cup of wine and this beautiful tradition of dedicating each of the four cups to each of the four ways that God promised to free us from slavery. And so this second cup, we are reminded of when God said, I will deliver you, the Hitzalti in Hebrew. And in a moment, we'll say the blessing, but first, just to give you something to think about, an intention for this second cup, and then we'll have the chance to talk with each other about it too. So the Hitzalti, I will deliver you, God said. So what has delivered us to this moment, more than a year now after being told about this mysterious pandemic? What has helped you navigate this year? Which activities or practices, rituals or traditions, maybe spiritual practice, something new, something old. What has helped you arrive at this moment? What has delivered you? So let's think about that as we raise our glasses. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen l'chaim. So again, as we head off into our breakout rooms to think about, I will deliver you, God said. What has delivered you to this moment? What people, what practices have helped you navigate this time?
Thank you. Before we go into the breakout rooms, one of the things that we forgot to, or I forgot to mention at the beginning, is that in the Haggadot, there are some readings at the back. And so you may want to just refer to some of those readings. It starts on page 6, and that may help guide you, or in terms of your thoughts, or inspire your conversations. The first reading is a reinterpretation of the 4 sons as the 4 daughters. And the second one, this beautiful elegy of I, Miriam. So take a look at those if you would like. And now away with you into your, have fun.
The C's part.
The C's part.
Rosie,
Yes,
you have to unmute.
yes, I'm here now.
Breakout room this year in.
So it's a great question. What kept us going during this pandemic? I'm not sure I had anything that I could say kept me going. Does anybody have something that you think was like a thing you could say kept you going?
Well, I was, hi, oh, sorry. Go ahead,
ahead.
Jennifer. No. My youngest daughter celebrated her wedding in July, a very small gathering. And when the rabbi spoke at the wedding, she talked about what Leonard Cohen said, ring the bells that still can ring, forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. And I found myself repeating over and over and over to myself, ring the bells that still can ring. And finding solace and comfort in sort of what was left in this sort of time of not being able to connect with people. It was like a little prayer that I could say to myself. And anyway, that's
a good one.
yeah.
I'm going to remember that. I was just going to say, I just kept putting one foot in front of the other and just doing what I had to do to keep going, just getting groceries, making sure my friend was okay, and doing laundry and doing all the stuff that you do to keep going. So my life wasn't terribly different because I live alone and I'm used to being alone, and I worked at home anyway before I retired. So it wasn't like I was completely isolated. I mean, I wasn't not used to being isolated. I live alone and I enjoy it. So it wasn't But there were other parts that were difficult for sure. Just, yeah. So I think it's getting harder for people now. What about you, Rosie?
Well,
There
I think I got busier
Yeah.
to get through it. I signed up to do the newsletter for Sisterhood, and that kept me busy and engaged and on Zoom and meeting new people, and kept me from, pondering the statistics of the day or whatever. And so I think I just got busier, and I admit I probably bothered a lot of people more than normal because I would Zoom a lot. But I think that helped sustain me. Lolly, your video is off and you are muted. Do you want to pitch in here?
Hello.
There.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Lolly.
Hi.
Hey, look, your setting looks gorgeous.
I just lost her.
Yeah, me too.
Lolly.
Lolly. Oh, well.
And I don't know who is standing in for Congregation Beth Israel. That's might be Tracy or someone that is.
But there she is.
Yay, you're back.
Sorry about that. I jumped around and I left the group by accident.
Oh, boy, now we're.
Hi,
Now
Ned.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
I think breakout has ended.
Well, I know it's ending, and I'm sorry. We have my mother-in-law here and my sister-in-law, so I'm kind of doing several things at once and trying to be here with the Seder. So yes, is everybody doing well?
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hmm.
Hi, Lolly.
I think we're back. Nice to see you, Lolly.
Hi, Cantor.
Hi. I always do this, but I'm wearing
Oh,
Lolly.
you're so sweet.
I'm wearing Lolly's
He's wearing
necklace and earrings.
Oh,
Because
beautiful.
if any of you on this call don't know, if you ever want some just beautiful, unusual, I know I have to interrupted the Seder for a commercial, but okay. But now we're done with that. Back
Women
to our.
advertising women.
I love those pieces on you.
All right. I know that in the breakout room, the prompt that Cantor Green gave you was to talk about all the different ways that you made it through. What was it that delivered you through this time so that you got to this point in time? And I know that each one of us is feeling so deeply that sense of gratitude that we have gotten through, that not without some cost, I know, to many of you who have had friends or family who were sick, or God forbid, who died because of COVID-19 or other illnesses. There's a lot for us to both pray for in terms of healing for ourselves and for others, and at the same time to be holding gratitude for the health that we do have, those around us, our loved ones, and ourselves. So we're going to ask you at this time to really bring to mind and to heart everyone in your circle that you are concerned for. And you can put names in the chat. It's powerful to be able to see and know that you're praying for someone. And we'll lift up those names and those healing prayers with this very simple song, which was a prayer actually that Moses spontaneously blurted out when his sister Miriam was stricken with leprosy. And this is one of the first prayers of that sort. So Moses cried out, El na rifana la, please God, heal her, from his heart. So from all of our hearts, just repeat after me. El na rifana la na El narfanalo, el narfanalo, el narfanalanu, el narfanalanu, el narfanalanu. Elna Rifana Lanu. We say, God, please heal her. God, please heal him. God, please heal all of us in the ways that it is possible for us to find healing, to find wholeness. And we say, Amen.
Amen. We in our tradition hold the loss and the joy. It really is. We don't shy away from either. We acknowledge both and everything in between, and live in that reality. As we move on to the third cup, the Ga'alti, I will redeem you, and thinking about even in that moment of redemption, even in that crossing of the sea and everything that led to that moment, we still spill out of our cup. We still acknowledge the loss and the pain that was felt by those left behind, that was felt by the Egyptians. And even though we had separated ourselves, we still felt responsible. And the Midrash is actually of the angels weeping, which I think is so powerful. Even the rabbis centuries ago said that we don't just go into this moment of freedom and redemption without acknowledging the pain. This is a very hard story, and life is all of these things, and so that on the other side there was still, the angels were happy for us, but they were crying. And so it is so important to acknowledge the loss that we have felt this year and the loss that we are still feeling, or acknowledging the pain of those around us, at the same time making all that space in ourselves and in this journey for the hope, and thinking about the Ga'alti, is that God says, I will redeem you, and that we had this amazing and important moment of redemption. And we're going to say the third blessing, the third time, we're going to say the blessing over our cup of joy. And we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen l'chaim. And so that moment of redemption is also so fascinating, because we know that we were leaving quickly. That was the whole point why we're stuck with this matzah, both the bread of slavery and the bread of liberation. But this Miriam of now, who we honor with our Miriam's cup, and as we talked about with the wells, Miriam had that hope that she brought something with her. You know, we all have those hypothetical conversations that if you had to leave in a moment's notice, what would you take with you? What does Miriam take with her? Musical instruments. We say we don't really know what she took. A toph, was that a drum? Was that a tambourine? Cantor Kahana has her famous tambourine. I mean, Cantor Green, that tambourine is really amazing. Kim, where's your tambourine? She has to find it. But that Miriam knew that there would be a moment of rejoicing on the other side of this. And what better way to rejoice, and what better way to celebrate and feel freedom and redemption, but through music. As I was saying, like, you know, I'm so moved when I hear, you know, everyone singing together and all this, that when we see the musical instruments, when we feel them, we play them, that it makes us feel hopeful. It makes us feel redeemed. And so I know we're going to get to feel a little bit more of that. You've got to find your tambourine or your egg shaker.
Right. We're going to sing together. You know, I recently learned that Miriam, the moment that Miriam stood on the shores and led the Israelites through the sea, timbrel or instrument or hope in hand, song definitely in her heart. She was old. And I did not know this before, that she was 80. So my vision of her may have changed ever so slightly. Maybe she wasn't standing as tall as she did when she was younger. Maybe her hair was gray. Maybe her body was tired from the toll the journey was taking at 80 years of age. But what still remains and remained was her hope. Her hope was strong enough. And to dance all of us into these parted shores and reminding us of all of the promise that lies ahead. So I would love for everybody to join in, and if you have an instrument or a tabletop or your hands to clap, snap, you can get up if you're able, and if you would like to dance. We're going to sing Miriam's song together, our song of hope on our own journeys. And as we sing, whatever pain that's been a part of our journey, may it cease. Whatever strength has been a part of our journey, may it increase. Whatever fear has been a part of our journey, may it be released. And may blessings of love and joy and hope surround us all as we sing Miriam's song together. Dancing with her timbrels, followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one, sang our history. With every thread and every strand crafted her delight. Woman touch with spirit, she danced in the light. Let's sing together, here we go. And the women dancing with their timbrels, follow Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance the whole night long. When Miriam stood upon the shores, gazed across the sea, the wonder of this miracle soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, we would pass to freedom, march to promised land. Here we go, ready? And the women dancing with their timbrels, follow Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance all night long. And Miriam the prophet took the timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, saying, praise and might, we've just lived through a miracle, we're gonna dance tonight. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, let's sing. And the women dancing with their timbrels, followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance the whole night long. Let's sing again, here we go. And the women dancing with their timbrels, follow Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance the whole night long.
Woo! Oh, that is such a good release. That feels like freedom. Although I miss the lines of all of us dancing all around, in and out of all the spaces. I know it will come, but you just feel that is redemption and joy and hope. It's music, it's singing, it's musical instruments, it's dancing, and that really leads to that expansiveness, that release, that joy, which brings us to our fourth cup. So we will come for the fourth time. Our fourth cup, Hotseti, I will release you, I will bring you out. I will bring you out of those narrow places, out of that constriction, into the expanse, feeling like this is true. feeling really that taste of freedom and that taste of hope, maybe for the first time in a long time. And so I feel like, in this moment, that we really are starting to be able to think about what is in front of us. What does the future hold? What do we want it to look like? So let's say this blessing for the fourth time. Oh, I guess I'm doing it. Okay. After I made fun of the singing, and now I'm doing the blessings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen l'chaim. So we want to have an opportunity for a third and final time to go into your Seder tables for the last time to talk about, where do you find that strength? Where have you found that strength? And what are you looking forward to? That really being able to name some of those things that, that saying it out loud and naming it, putting it out into the universe is going to make it so and help bring it about. So let's start naming those things. We have cleared the space. We have made that room. Let's name what we want to fill it with. What are those things that now we want to hold on to and continue into the future? So we're going to go back into our tables.
Family.
Travel.
we're sorry if we caught you in mid-sentence. I always love that about breakout rooms. It's just like, wait, okay, but here we are back. We did want to take a moment because we haven't done this yet to hear from you. So if anyone would like to share something that you were talking about as part of this recent breakout room, what are the things that you're bringing forward into the future? What's going to give you hope? What are you going to keep? What are you going to leave behind? Any of those we'd love to hear. So let's see, I can't actually see people, so maybe you can put something in the chat and I can call on you, or just unmute and talk. Love to hear from you.
One thing that we didn't get a chance to talk about because it was a shorter breakout, but this has been a year, more than a year of my life, and I am older now than I have been, well, obviously for a long time. And there's sort of a new urgency. This was a year that I didn't get to travel. I didn't get to see a lot of people that I wanted to. And so I really am going to prioritize what I want to get back to right away. And I think that's been a lesson, as well as the other thing we did talk about was the inclusion that the Zooming allowed us for book clubs where people have moved to another part of the country and all of a sudden they're back with us. That's a real positive thing. But it also does feel, quite frankly, to me like a year that I didn't do a lot of things that I might have wanted to.
Thank you. Thank you. Is it Marky?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That was great. Anybody else? Just go for it.
In the group I was in, almost everyone said they missed the most was hugs. And for me, especially living by myself, that is the thing I miss the most, I think. And so I do go out and walk in the neighborhood and speak to people, and I've been vaccinated and I know that things are better. And I've gone to the pool now. I've been able to get into the pool. But I just think that that's one of the big things that I miss the most is the tactile touching. And we talked about the early women's Seders where we danced all over the room and outside and everywhere, and how we enjoyed that so much. And we all want that back, even though we have this helps because it's our little community of women together. We miss that actually really dancing. So.
Yeah, that physical presence. It's like all the things we won't take for granted. Like Marky said, just the ability to be able to travel, to take off, the ability to be able to give someone a hug. So,
right.
Yeah. So they seem like small things, but they're huge. Go ahead, Sherry.
I've been missing being able to feel okay, just being near people. So when we're on the sidewalk, friends or strangers, we kind of really skirt around far apart from each other. In some ways, some of this has brought us closer. Marky and I are in a writing group together, and we meet once a month, and it's marvelous to do that. But oh my goodness, how I feel weird about feeling afraid of being near people. And so I will be so excited to put that aside and feel okay, just not only giving people a hug, but being able to feel good about being close enough to greet each other and hear each other.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. I think we have time for one or two more. Anybody else like to come on?
Toby, I would like to share. I found that I lost my sense of purpose during this year. I lost my sense of purpose. What was I doing sitting home by myself every day and knitting for a great grandchild? Or that gave me some purpose. And I think that's what I've missed the most this year, is that finding that moment of purpose that I could be with my family again.
Well, mazal tov to you for being with them now. Clearly they adore you. And it sounds like you did find a beautiful kind of purpose. It's just, it's painful to be alone.
I also I feel that way, have felt that way, that I've lost my purpose. I'm not sure what it is. But being a grandparent, is part of that, and not seeing the kids. I'm sorry that I don't live closer to the temple, so I don't really get a chance to be involved. I'm living out in the suburbs. I have a group of mostly women from I don't know if you know about the villages that are around the country, but there are many of them here, and I'm a member of one of the villages, and that's helped a lot because even though we're still just Zooming, you get to know people if you're doing that week after week. So that's felt really good.
Thank you. I think that so many of us are feeling that sense of disconnect and trying to find it. So I think we've learned that we can use this technology so that even when we can't make it to the synagogue, that we can still connect with each other. I really hope and pray that all of you, if it's difficult for you to get there, even once we're returning in a physical capacity, please, stay connected with us. This is still, as Rabbi Joseph said, it's still a real experience. It's still, a loving connection to other people. So thank you all for being here. We're going to move into a conclusion. And before we do that, I do want to remind you that tomorrow night, we have a really extraordinary service. So please don't miss it. It's going to be all kinds of manifestations of freedom through the arts. So we'll see you tomorrow night as well. And first, back to Rabbi Joseph.
Yeah, thinking about, again, so much loss this year. But the hope is, like, when we get rid of what we wrote down earlier in our time together, and when we when we washed away those losses in the beginning with our hands and all of that, and asked God to spread that shelter of peace around us, that we're making room for the new. And it really is a hopeful act. And so we want to go back to those pieces of paper. So if you have them nearby, if you have the magic paper, I'd encourage you to take your Miriam's cup or water or whatever you have, and put it in there. And if you put it around, and there goes mine. If you don't have that with you, then you can rip it. I mean, I actually, in past years, we burned it, which I actually really like. I like the fire of that as well. So there's all the ways in which you can get rid of, but I just dissolve it, get rid of it. Oh yes, and Gail says misses the bonfire. We used to then have the communal bonfire, and we put everything in and get rid of it. So go ahead and all of these things, and say we're moving into a new stage again. I truly believe that this time we can say next year in Jerusalem, the metaphorical Jerusalem, next year together. Next year in person, God willing, next year when we can be together. And so I think we're going to have some uplift of that.
בשנה הבאה נשב על המרפסת ונצפור ציפורים נודדות ילדים בחופשה, יסעדו תופסת בין הבית לבין השדות. תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. Seasons come, seasons go, but people never seem to know how long it will rain or it will shine. Let them ask what will be. It doesn't mean a thing to me. I know what will be when you are mine. תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. 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 Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Bohan Shama Tahaya, hallelujah. Bohan Shama Tahaya, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
This will be done. Which is what I was gonna make. There's like lots of them in the
Hallelujah. As we thank God for this time together. One of the most famous Haggadah of our movement was called Degradation to Dignity, and which is very grand and good alliteration. But my favorite part of the Haggadah is that sense. We actually read in our Haggadah that we begin with the bad news and we end with the good news. And that's how we tell our story. That is the Jewish way of telling stories. We begin with the bad and we end with the good. And I hope that is how we feel as we can leave this space, as we can leave behind this year, as we can leave behind that sense of loss, and we can go into the future. We can end with the good, the hope. We can end with the expanse. We can end with hugs. We can end with dancing. We can end with being near each other. We can end with finding our purpose. Because I think all of us have felt some sense of loss of purpose. And I really believe that in this new reality, that what we are stepping into is not what was. Because that's not what resilience is. Resilience is not a bouncing back. Resilience is a bouncing forward. A resilience is taking our experiences and making them better. And that's the hope, that's the good news, that's the dignity that we're taking into this next year, is that we are going to be better. I believe that. I really hope that all of you can believe that, at least hold on to some piece of hope to take, because it's going to require all of us to build this better world that we're stepping into. And I can't think of anybody that I want to build it with more than everybody in this room today, tonight, all of us. And I so look forward to that. And I know for all of you. And that is the blessing that I want to leave with all of us, is that we are going to build this world together in hope. And I can't wait to hug everyone. Hugs, hugs.
Thank you.
We-
Beautiful service.
At all the B'nai Mitzvah recently, we've been at the very end. We just tell people, just everybody unmute. We're going to have cacophony and we're going to sing Siman Tov. But I think let's just do a chorus of Dayenu. Okay, so everybody just unmute. Let's go for it, and then we can talk a little bit. Thank you.
L'simcha, everyone.
Chag Sameach.